Hi there, my name is Jeff Pfeiffer. I own a company called Heat4Less. We're a wholesale distributor of infrared heaters. I design my heaters. My heaters make 2 times more heat than almost every other infrared heater made. And you might ask, well, how can that be? Well, let me show you this example. This is a 100 watt incandescent light bulb. This is a 15 watt light bulb. They both make the same amount of light. 100 watts of electricity, 15 watts of electricity, yet they produce the same amount of light. Technology is advancing. The same is true in the infrared industry. This is my heating element, and this is a competitor. This is a common one that a lot of brands use. My heating element makes 2 times more heat than this heating element. Technology is advancing, and that's how it's happening. Now you might think all 1500 watt heaters use the same amount of electricity, so they have to make the same amount of heat. Again, that's just not true. Let me show you. One way that we can show you is this. We'll take a laser gun here and we'll check the temperature of each heater. Now this is a competitor, and if we hit it just right, we get right around 180 degrees. We're at 174, 179. And then mine is over 600 degrees. Now, if we were in a store, and my heaters are sold in stores all across the country, I would encourage you to walk up to the heaters and actually put your hands over them like this and hold your hands there as long as you can. Actually touch the heater. My heater, after 9 to 12 seconds, you have to pull your hand away because it gets that hot. The competitor, you can hold your hand there much longer. Now you may have heard of a term called BTUs. BTUs stand for British Thermal Units. BTUs are calculated not by heat output, but by electric consumption. All 1500 watt heaters are the same BTUs, because to calculate BTUs you take 1 watt of electricity times 3.41214. So all 1500 watt heaters are the same BTUs. The way that heaters with fans in particular should be calculated is to take what's called CFM, cubic feet per minute. What's the volume of air coming out? How big is the opening and how fast is it moving? Now on these 2 heaters here, the fan speed is the same, the air speed is the same, and the opening is the same. So if you take the CFM, cubic feet per minute, that's the volume coming out, times the temperature of the air coming out, that's really how heaters should be calculated. And if you do that, you will see that mine makes 2 times more heat than almost every other infrared heater made. Now there are some other features that I have in mind that I want to share with you. One is a safety touch grill. You can actually touch the grill, not for real long, but you can actually touch it. So it's safe around children and pets. If your heater wouldn't have that, it would be like touching a hot iron, and they would burn themselves really quickly and really bad. Mine also has a child lock. With this, you just simply press and hold the arrows until it beeps. And that locks the setting in place, so children can't come along and change it. To unlock it, you press and hold until it beeps again, and then it unlocks it. Okay? Some other features that mine have. Mine has a heating element indicator light. Mine is the only infrared heater made that has this. It's something that I put specifically into my heaters. A 1500 watt infrared heater has anywhere from 2 to 8 heating elements. Normally the consumer doesn't know that they have a bad heating element until about half of them are blown out. With mine, if just one blows out, this green light will begin to flash. It's the only one made with that feature. Mine also has memory technology, and what that is this. If you have a power outage, even if the electricity at your home goes off for a couple seconds, it'll turn every heater off. When the electricity comes back on, mine's the only one with a digital display that automatically comes back on to the previously set temperature. Now there may be another one out there somewhere, but out of all the ones that we've tested, we haven't found any that do that. Mine has the greatest temperature range. You can set the thermostat all the way down to 40 and all the way up to 90. The reason that I have such a broad range is for a couple of reasons. One is, let's say you want to use a heater just to keep your pipes from freezing in the wintertime. Well, you can't use most other infrared heaters that have a digital display, because if you go away and the electricity goes off, even for a couple seconds, the heater won't come back on, and you'll come home and your pipes will be frozen. With Mayan, the heater automatically comes back on, so you can use Mayan to keep pipes from freezing. It goes all the way down to 40 degrees because in a basement in particular of a home, the thermostat sensor is near the floor on any of the heaters, and the floor is always colder than the wall or the ceilings. So the heater may run until it reaches 50 degrees until it actually turns off. There are some heaters out there, the lowest they go is 64 degrees. That means that they may not actually turn off until it reaches 74 degrees in your basement. And you don't want it to be that warm if you're just trying to prevent the pipes from freezing. So that's why I have mine go all the way down to 40 degrees. Well, why does mine go up to 90 degrees? A couple of reasons for that. One is there are some stores that don't have air conditioning. So say someone comes into a store and maybe it's a really warm day and it might be over 80 degrees in the store. A customer comes in and wants to see how the heater works. This heater won't even turn on if it's warmer than 80 degrees. But with mine, it'll turn on and the customer can see how it works. The same principle applies with when someone needs to get a heater serviced. Let's say a heating element blows out. And 5 years from now, someone brings one of my heaters into the service center and this light is flashing. Well, if this heater was kept in a car, it might be warmer than 80 degrees. So the customer brings the heater into the service center, it won't even turn on, because if it only goes up to 80 degrees, it won't even turn on. Mine goes up to 90 degrees, so it will turn on. So even if it's really warm, it still will turn on so the customer can see how it operates, as well as the service technicians be able to service it. Again, the service issue isn't as much of an issue with mine because they're built really strong and they last really long. Some people ask, how long does your heating elements last? The competitors' heating elements are rated to last 3 to 5 years. Mine are rated to last somewhere between 6 and 10 years, twice as long. And the reason is that the metal is thicker, and also, don't know if you can see it on the camera there, but the end of the wire is white. And when these break, almost 100% of the time they break at the end. Hardly ever do they break in the middle. So what I did with mine is I put a thicker piece of metal on the end so it won't break. So between it being a thicker metal on the inside, a thicker connection on the outside, mine just lasts much, much, much longer than the average quartz infrared heating element does. Other features mine has, which are common with many infrared heaters, it has wheels to move it around easily, it has a remote control, and it also has a digital display. Next, people ask, is your heater made in America? The truth of the matter is there's no residential infrared heater made in America. There are a couple of companies that call themselves American-based companies, but their heaters are made in China. All of our companies in America are American-based, so there's a lot of deception in advertising out there. I tried twice to have my heater made in America, and they would have retailed for about $500. I'm still going to keep trying, but for now, I'm having them made overseas. What I tell people is this: I would rather spend $200 buying a heater made in China than spend $2,000 a year buying oil from the Middle East. The Middle East are trying to murder us. China is just trying to take us over. The truth of the matter is, if our government got out of the way, we would be able to make them here in America and sell them for a competitive price. So I'm hopeful that eventually our government will lower taxes and reduce regulations so that we can make them right here in America. Now, I also want mine to be built strong. There are some heaters out there that have a very high return rate. In fact, there's one leading competitor out there. 3 years ago, they came out with a model that had an 80% return rate. 8 out of 10 were returned within the first year. The average return rate for an infrared heater is somewhere between 12 to 15% get returned within the first year. My heater, 3 years in a row, has the lowest return rate in the industry of just 2%. 2% of my heaters get returned within the first year. It's the lowest in the industry. I build it to be strong and to last long and to reduce the return rate. Some people ask me, how many square feet will your heater heat? Well, it's as with any heater, you have 4 different factors that will determine how many square feet a heater will heat. The first is the insulation value of your home. How well is it insulated? Secondly, the ceiling heights and how high the ceilings are. Thirdly is the outside temperature. How cold is it where you live? And fourth is the inside temperature that you want to maintain. Some people maintain 60 degrees in their home. Some people maintain 80 degrees in their home. So with those 4 variables, it's really impossible to say how many square feet exactly any heater will heat. But what I tell people is this: on average, in the dead of winter, my heater will heat 1,000 square feet. If you live in Florida or Texas, in the dead of winter, my heater will heat an average of 2,000 square feet. So every situation is different depending on those 4 variables. Now, as far as the warranty on my heaters come with a lifetime limited warranty. I used to sell them with a full 100% 3-year warranty. And what happened is I'd walk into a store and I would see a customer looking at the different heaters, and they would see my heater and they'd see 3-year warranty. Then they would see another competitor and say lifetime limited warranty. Well, lifetime versus 3 years, and quite often people would go with a lifetime thinking it was a better warranty. But because it's limited, the warranties are really about the same in value. But because of that, I changed my warranty to a lifetime limited warranty. Parts are covered for life. They're free to the customer for life as long as they get them fixed at a certified service center. So the parts are free to the customer, but the customer has to pay the service fee to get their heater repaired. Now, if a customer chooses to fix the heater themselves, they can buy the parts and fix it themselves, but then the part isn't free to the customer. They have to pay for the part. The only time the part is free to the customer is if they go to a service center and pay the service fee for the service center to repair it for them.